Welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'm doing a really pretty set of long coffin nails. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm going in and removing the bling, and I'm just using a pair of nippers. And once I get to the other hand, we are going to be trimming down the nail because it did break, as you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the bling, and then after that I'm going to go in and just trim it down. Once we have all of the mold removed, we're going to go in with the coarse drill bit, and we're going to be filing down the acrylic on this nail because we're going to be soaking that acrylic off with a cotton ball and acetone and the little clips while we do the other nails. So again, this is an extra coarse drill bit. We're just filing down the acrylic. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and just remove the gel polish from all of the other nails. Alrighty, so as always, when we're removing the gel polish, you want to make sure that first you start around that cuticle area and working your way around the entire nail. And then of course, if you just have on regular nail polish, then you can just go in and just simply remove the polish with an a cotton ball and acetone, but since we do use gel polish, we have to file it off. And this is a safety drill bit, just because since it is an extra coarse drill bit, it's pretty sharp and we don't want to cut our clients. So make sure that if you're using an extra coarse or even just a coarse drill bit, that you're using a safety one. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and finish removing the gel polish, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, so next we're going to go in with a cuticle pusher. We're going to be pushing back those cuticles, and that is just going to help expose the new growth and help with reducing lifting. I'm just using a metal cuticle pusher. Remember, it's okay if you use a wooden one, a metal one, a plastic one. It doesn't matter as long as it can be either disinfected or disposed of. And after this, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail, making sure that we go from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until all of the shine is gone. Remember, you don't want to file too much though, because we literally are just removing the shine. We don't want to thin down the nail because it will damage it. So again, we're removing the shine. This is a 180 sanding band. And also just a reminder that you can do acrylic nails without a drill. It just takes a little bit longer because you're having to do everything by hand. But if you are a beginner and you don't have a drill yet, you can absolutely just use your hand file. Alrighty, so once we finish removing the shine, we're going to go in and just apply a new nail tip on the pinky. But of course, first we have to go in and do all of the steps. So we push back the cuticles, we're going to remove the shine from the natural nail, and then we're going to apply the nail tip. Remember that when you're applying the nail tips, you want to make sure that they fit exactly from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want it to be too big or too small because it could cause breakage or lifting. So while that nail dries, we're going to go ahead and apply the primer. I'm using the Young Nail Protein Bond, and it's worked really good for me, so I do highly recommend it. And I don't use a dehydrator, I just use this and I have no issues with lifting. So now we're going to go in and shape up this nail. So we're doing a coffin shape. So 45-degree angle on the sides and a 90-degree angle at the free edge to make sure that it's super straight. And then we're just going to blend that nail tip right in the middle. After this, we're going to go ahead and dust it off and just apply the primer on it as well. Now we're going to go in with the acrylic. I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, my alpha brush in a number 10, and of course we're just going to apply that bit closer to the cuticle area, patting it down and then brushing it down towards the tip and making sure that we wipe around the cuticle area really good, because we don't want any product on the skin, because if not, we will get lifting. And then of course, making sure that you have a nice apex and also making sure that you have a nice thickness at your tip. And if you need to apply a little bit more just anywhere, feel free to do so. But of course, we focus around that cuticle area first because that's what we're filling in. Also, just as a reminder that when you're doing really long acrylic nails, you want to make sure that you have a nice apex. So when you place your bead closer to the cuticle area, it's like you barely even touch the acrylic when you're blending it down, because you want most of that product to stay there, but you also want it, blend it in with the rest of the acrylic that's already there. And then also making sure that we clean around that cuticle area really good, and also making sure that we have a nice thickness at the tip, because if not, your nail will break off really easily. With them being so long as well, it just makes it a lot easier for you to break a nail. So make sure that they are thick enough, because you don't want your client having to come back literally the next day. Okay, so we finished the first hand, so now over to the other hand, and we're basically doing the same thing on this hand, except for, of course, the pinky. We're gonna do, the acrylic over the entire nail. We place the first bead in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets, patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. The second one, we're gonna apply it right below that one. Third one closer to the cuticle area, and fourth one at your apex. And then of course, if you need to add more, then that's totally fine, because you want to make sure that you have a nice thickness. Also making sure that it's really important that you look at the nail from different angles, because you will not be able to tell if you need to add more until you look at it from the side. It might look really nice and even from the top, but if you look at it from the side, you'll be able to tell if your tip is too thin, or also if your apex area is too thin, and then you can determine where you need to add more acrylic. So it's really important that you pay attention to what you're doing at all times. And also make sure that when you're working, you wipe your brush off a lot. Every time you see me move the brush over to the right side where you can't see the brush, that's me wiping the brush off on a paper towel. Alrighty, y'all, so we finished applying the acrylic. So now we're going to go in and reshape the nails. I'm using a 100 nail file. We're filing the sides at a 45-degree angle and the free edge at exactly a 90-degree angle to make sure that they're super straight. Remember that when you're filing long acrylic nails, you want to make sure that you do hold the tip while you're doing this because you don't want to hurt them. So again, 45-degree angle at the sides and a 90-degree angle at the free edge to perfect our shape. Alrighty, so after we finish reshaping the nails, we're going to go in and file the nails. So I'm going in with a extra fine drill bit by Pana, and this one is a new one. I decided to get a new one because I've realized that even with this one being a brand new one, like this was literally the first time I used it, it's like the drill bit is so fine that the acrylic gets stuck to it. I don't know if you can see where the drill bit is starting to turn a little bit white, and even though it works really good for me, that's the only thing that bothers me. I don't know if anyone else has that problem as well, but it's like the acrylic or the dust, it just gets in between like the little like the drill bit, like the little spikes, I guess I could say, and then it becomes a little bit hard to file. But sometimes if I just soak them in like a little bit of acetone for like a few seconds, it was able to like remove that acrylic. But I think I'm gonna have to switch back over to a fine one instead of an extra fine because I never had a problem with my fine ones. But it still gets the job done. It just takes me a little bit longer, but I like how they're not as sharp as my fine ones. But anyways, remember that when you're filing the acrylic, you want to make sure that you focus on that cuticle area first. You want to make sure that you seal that area really good, because if you get any moisture trapped in between the natural nail and the acrylic, you could get lifting or you could get those nasty greenies. So make sure that you seal that acrylic really good around that cuticle area. You want it to be really nice and flat, sealed, and what's the other word? I can't remember the other word, but you want it to be nice and sealed around that area. And then of course, just also making sure that the rest of the acrylic is nice and even. Usually, you know, with me, I don't have problems with the acrylic not being even. Of course, if you're a beginner, it will take you a little bit longer to get a flawless, you know, smooth application. But all you have to do is just spend a little bit more time when you're filing, when you're doing this part, to get it nice and smooth, because the only way to get rid of those bumps and lumps is by filing, whether you're using an e-file or a hand file. Okay, so next we're going to go in with the buffer, and as always this is just going to make sure that the nails are nice and smooth. It gets rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from the hand file or the e-file. So we buff really good, and then after that we go in and just wipe the nail soft. But also when I'm buffing, I make sure that I go in with my thumb and I just feel the top of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth, and if it's not, I just go in and buff a little bit more. Alrighty, so I dust the nails off, and then I'm going to go in with an alcohol wipe and just wipe all of the nails off. And then after this, the first thing that we're going to be doing is some nail piercings on the pinkies. So on this pinky, we're going to be doing 4 on the left side, and then on the other hand, on the pinky, we're going to only do 3. And I'm using like this little, it's like basically like a nail, like a drill, like literally a little drill or like a screwdriver. And you like just twist it until you make a hole on the nail. And I'm just making 4 of those, and then I'm gonna put the little piercings in there. It's really nice and simple. I think I got this little kit from Amazon, so I'll be sure to look for it and leave it down below. And then I'm just putting the little gold hoops in there. These little hoops actually come with like a little bead, but I take those out and I just do, well, that's what she wanted, and I just did the little gold ring. And I'm just gonna go ahead and insert those, and they do come shut, so you do have to like open them, whether it's with some tweezers or some nippers or even just with your fingernails, and then you have to just squeeze them to close them together. But we're gonna go ahead and again do the 4 on this nail and then 3 on the other hand. Alrighty, so I got those 4 done. So now same thing on the other one, except for we're only doing 3, and we're gonna do them a lot closer together. So remember, with the little screwdriver, you literally just put it on the nail, and then you start twisting to one side. You just twist until you make the hole, and then we just did 3 of them right by each other. So next we're going to go in with our hard gel, and this is the same one that I had on my website. Remember, my website will be up really soon. I don't have a date yet, but I'll be sure to post about it on my Instagram and on my YouTube as well once it's coming up. But it should be probably like in the next week or two. I've been really busy and I'm still waiting on a few things to come in, so I'll keep you guys updated. But I'm just applying the hard gel on the nail, and then I go in and apply the big pieces. So these are just you know, different random 3D pieces, and some of them have flowers, others have pearls, so they're just random on here. She just wanted like gold on the nails, so I'm making sure that I only do like the first 4 fingers and then do the thumbs separately, because these pieces will slide off the nail if you don't cure them right away, so make sure that you're careful with that. But again, it's just random, you know, jewelry pieces on the nail, and we're just applying them with the hard gel. Alrighty, so we finished applying all of the big jewels, and now we're just going in with our Madam Glam Gel Top Coat, and this is a non-cleansed top coat, which means that we are not gonna have to wipe anything off once we're done. I've had that question asked a lot, which is why I wanted to clarify. I know someone told me that they didn't like using gels because they're so sticky, and if you're having that issue, most likely you are using a top coat that has to be cleaned off, and it just means that it has an inhibition layer, and you just have to wipe that tacky layer with an alcohol wipe, but that's it. But this one is actually a non-cleanse, which means that I don't have to do that step. But anyways, once we finish doing the top coat, we're gonna go ahead and cure them under the light for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so here is the final look. They turned out so freaking ratchet, and I just absolutely love it. They just, I don't know, y'all, something about this just makes me happy. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNail32, and I will see you guys next time.